Hey friends. So today on our garden tour, we are going to talk about something a little bit more serious. There are times in the growing season of the garden where it starts to feel really overwhelming. It feels like too much. It feels like, why did I do this? Why do I do this to myself? I'm so full of dreams and plans and ideas in the beginning of the growing season. I mean, even in January, when you're starting seeds, there gets to be a point when it's not spring anymore. You lose spring, but you also lose that spring in your step and your enthusiasm for your garden, and you forget the reason why you do it in the first place. This whole channel is not about gardening. This is not a gardening channel. This channel is about finding simple ways to find joy and pleasure in your life and what that could look like, whether it's something as big as a garden or as small as finding something cool at a thrift store, or sending a package to someone, or your dogs, or a combination. But when your joys turn into additional stress, it's really hard to find the motivation, especially when you've got some cost sunk into that passion and it now feels overwhelming and a little too big for you. So let's talk about that for a second. I do most of the work in this 2,600 square foot garden myself, almost all of it. At the beginning of every season, I have it in my budget to hire someone to come and help me prepare as far as laying down the new wood chips. Shout out to Miguel. And he tops off the beds and puts a really, really nice leaf mulch that he creates himself from the leaves that he collects from the yards that he does, right? But it's very helpful to have somebody come and kind of get me to ground zero. But then I take over, and it's early spring, and it's 65 degrees outside and closing in on 70, and it's warm, and the birds are singing, and leaves are appearing on trees, and everything is very tidy. There are no weeds. There are no bugs, really. There's not many bugs. All of the plants have so much promise. The whole garden has so much promise. And that promise is what motivates me to start the garden for the year, for the season. And then it's very exciting to see your first tomato babies and to go and visit them and to see how big they've gotten. And then the weeds start, and they're small, at first. You can kind of get ahead of them as you go. But then they get bigger and bigger and more overwhelming. We have pokeweed. Pokeweed grows to be about 8 feet tall. And it is so fast growing, and it is so overwhelming. And it spreads in like 3 different ways. And it's just, there's so much of it. And it's so hard to get in front of it. There's the grass. There's the grass that grows from the mulch I put down to prevent the weeds. Make that make sense. There's the heat wave that causes all of your beautiful cauliflower to bolt, or your lettuce to bolt. There's the storms that you're excited about the rain, and the storms come through and knock over all of your corn. There's the pests like the squirrels that if they didn't knock down the corn, they eat the corn. Or the deer that hop the fence that come and eat all of your tomatoes like they did last year. Last year I planted 26 tomato plants, and I got some cherry tomatoes. And I think I didn't get a single slicer. I planted about 13 or 14 varieties of slicers. I didn't get a single one. Between the weather and the deer and bunnies, I didn't get a single one. But with all of this, and knowing year after year after year, the heartache of coming into the garden and how overwhelming it can be, why do we still do it? Why do we still come out every spring looking for that hope and that promise? And it's because of moments like this. What's really cool is that sometimes the weeds aren't weeds at all. Sometimes the weeds are the beauty in the garden. I have 7 volunteer zucchini plants. 8, there's one over there too. There's 8 volunteer zucchini plants. Last year the zucchini was wonderful. It was the Italian Romanesco that came very highly recommended. Sometimes you need to look beyond the weeds and find the flowers, because that's actually what's really exciting about gardening, are the wonderful surprises and the wonderful things that happen. So let me ask you, if the fact that I grew 36 different tomato plants last year and I got not even enough tomatoes to even give away, let alone hardly make a sauce. I couldn't make a sauce. Does that make me a failure? I didn't grow any garlic last year. I forgot to plant it the fall before. But I planted quite a lot of onions, and I found an onion that I truly love. And I'm planting them again this year, and I'm enjoying them. If you learn from a situation that is less than optimal, did you actually fail? Maybe when you're feeling a little overwhelmed by your garden, just go out there and garden. Have smaller expectations. Have a list of the things that you want to accomplish that day or that hour, that one chore. Ignore the rest. Yeah, there's a lot of weeds in my garden. I'm about to reach out to a neighborhood kid to see if he can come and help me with them. That's okay. You don't have to do it all yourself. It can be overwhelming, but it's also so rewarding. So if your little pleasures in your life, your dogs, your kids, your craft, whatever, become a little bit much, maybe take a little break, pivot, or adjust your expectations. It's okay. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for the garden tour with me, and we'll see you next time.